If you spend, any amount of time online, you inevitably start seeing the ads
Oh, yeah.
constantly. The ones where some guy is standing in front of like a clearly rented sports car, promising that the internet is essentially this massive unlocked vault.
Just waiting for you to walk in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They sell this illusion that making money online in 2026 is completely frictionless.
Mhm.
You type in a few AI prompts, you launch a store, and then you just watch the dashboard numbers tick up while you sleep.
I mean, it creates this really dangerous expectation that a digital business is something you just walk up to and turn on, like a vending machine,
Yeah, totally.
which is incredibly misleading because when you look at the actual architecture of successful digital businesses, they aren't vending machines at all. They're complex logistical systems. It requires capital, highly specific skills, and honestly, an enormous amount of operational friction that nobody ever talks about in a 30-second ad.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are tearing down that illusion for you. If you really want to know what it actually takes to build a digital income stream in 2026, you need to look at the raw data.
The real numbers.
Right. So we've pulled together a massive stack of internal industry research. We are looking at global e-commerce logistics data from DHL. We've got creator monetization breakdowns from vidIQ, comprehensive guides from Hostinger and GetResponse, and some really eye-opening labor reports on the virtual assistant economy from VA Masters.
Yeah, it's a completely different picture when you look at the actual plumbing of these industries
Yeah,
rather than the marketing pitches.
exactly. Our mission today is to cut through the get-rich-quick noise. We're going to walk you through the actual numbers, the harsh realities, and the precise operational steps to navigate and build in the modern digital economy. Okay, let's unpack this by looking at the macro landscape first.
Yeah.
Because we know traditional brick-and-mortar retail has been getting just hammered globally by recessionary pressures. But, people haven't stopped buying stuff.
All right, the transaction didn't disappear. It just moved.
Exactly.
It moved and it consolidated. And the DHL e-commerce data really puts the sheer scale of this into perspective. Because we aren't just talking about a temporary pandemic-era bump anymore.
Right, that narrative is over.
Exactly. DHL highlighted this massive foundational shift. They tracked global online buyers jumping from 1.6 billion in 2016 up to 2.1 billion by 2021.
Wow.
I mean, that is a 29% increase.
Yeah.
And that trajectory has only hardened as we sit here in 2026. The digital marketplace isn't an alternative anymore. It is the default global infrastructure.
So logically, if you want a piece of that infrastructure, setting up a digital storefront is the first step. And looking at the Hostinger guide, the most popular model they break down is drop shipping.
Oh, yeah, the classic.
Now, the way I look at drop shipping, and tell me if this tracks, is that it's a lot like being the front of house manager at a restaurant where a completely separate company is running the kitchen.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. You build the ambiance, you design the menu, you take the customer's money, but you never actually touch the food. When someone orders, a third-party supplier manufactures the item, packs it, and ships it directly to your customer.
I do like that analogy, but we have to talk about what happens when the kitchen burns the food.
Ah, yeah.
Because in dropshipping, you are the face of the brand. If your supplier in, say, overseas manufacturing takes 45 days to ship a product, or the quality is just terrible, the customer doesn't yell at the supplier.
No, they don't even know who the supplier is.
Exactly. They issue a chargeback against you. Your payment processor penalizes you.
Which completely destroys that myth that dropshipping is a zero-risk, $0 business to start. I always hear, start a store for free. But the Hostinger data tells a totally different story.
Oh, completely different.
They estimate the actual startup cost for a legitimate, functioning dropshipping operation today is anywhere from $1,500 to $13,000.
Yeah, because you aren't just buying a domain name for $10 and calling it a day.
Right.
To make that front of house work, you have to buy digital foot traffic. You are paying for ad impressions on social media just to test whether a product even has market fit.
Just to see if anyone even clicks.
Exactly. The Hostinger Guide gives us this great case study of Guillaume Drew. He founded a home goods brand called Or and Zon. He didn't just throw up a free Shopify site and cross his fingers. He invested about $8,000 up front.
So what exactly does $8,000 buy you in the very beginning?
Well, a lot of it goes to product sampling. He actually ordered the goods himself first to verify the quality, so, he made sure it wasn't selling garbage. And then the rest went heavily into digital ad testing. He had to find his exact target demographic.
Right.
And it paid off. Today, that business brings in $15,000 to $20,000 monthly. And they also mentioned Damon Wu of Slimintosoft, who injected $10,000 of capital right out of the gate to secure reliable supply chains. And that led to a 60% annual growth rate.
But, I mean, I have to push back a little on those numbers. When we say $15,000 to $20,000 a month, we are talking about gross revenue. Right?
Yes, absolutely gross revenue.
Because if you're spending, say, $5,000 a month on ads just to acquire those customers, plus the cost of the goods, your actual take-home profit margin is significantly tighter.
Oh, for sure. The net profit in e-commerce, especially when you factor in customer acquisition costs, is rarely what you see screenshotted on social media. It requires highly efficient capital deployment.
I look at that $8,000 startup cost and immediately think, well, this is financially inaccessible for a huge portion of people listening.
Yeah, that's a massive barrier to entry.
Is there a way to test product market fit in e-commerce without holding the bag on that kind of initial investment?
Yes, so the primary alternative is print on demand, which Hostinger also details in their report. It operates on a similar front-of-house model, but with zero upfront inventory costs.
Okay, how does that work mechanically?
So you upload graphic design to platforms like Redbubble or Printful. Only when a customer actually clicks buy is that design printed onto a physical item, like a t-shirt or coffee mug, and then it's shipped.
But the profit margins there have to be microscopic, right? If the platform is taking all the risk of manufacturing and shipping one-off items.
They are. The realistic math here is incredibly sobering. The data shows creators typically earn about $1 per active listing per month.
Wait, $1?
$1. So if you spend, a whole weekend uploading 100 unique designs across these platforms, you're looking at roughly $100 a month in passive income.
Wow.
Yeah. It is highly reliable, but it is purely a volume game. To make a living wage, you need thousands and thousands of optimized listings.
Okay, so the underlying logic of physical e-commerce is pretty clear. It requires either significant upfront capital or an immense volume of output.
Exactly.
But this naturally leads us to a massive shift in how people make money online. If you don't have the capital to buy physical inventory, you have to trade in a different commodity. And in 2026, the most valuable commodity is attention.
We are moving from the physical supply chain straight into the creator economy.
Right, selling an audience instead of a product. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because let's talk about YouTube. Everyone wants to be a YouTuber.
Of course they do.
But when you look at the vidIQ data, they break down the absolute friction required just to reach the starting line.
Oh, the barrier is huge.
It's massive. Just to join the YouTube Partner Program, literally just to be allowed to run ads on your videos, you have to hit 1,000 subscribers, plus either 4,000 public watch hours on your long-form videos or 10 million shorts views within a 90-day window.
It's a massive filter. It weeds out so many people. What's fascinating here is understanding how you actually get paid once you cross that threshold, because it's highly technical. You really have to understand the mechanism of ad revenue, specifically the difference between CPM and RPM.
Let's define those for the listener, because those acronyms get thrown around a lot.
Right. So CPM is cost per mil. That is the amount of money advertisers are paying YouTube for every 1,000 times their ad is shown. But as a creator, you don't get that number. You get the RPM, which is revenue per mil. That is your actual take-home pay per 1,000 views after YouTube takes its cut.
And YouTube's cut is pretty significant, right?
Very. They take 45% of the revenue on standard long-form videos and 55% on shorts.
And when you look at the vidIQ breakdown of those actual RPM payouts, the disparity is wild. If you are making long-form content, your RPM is generally somewhere between $2 and $15 per 1,000 views, depending on your niche. Like finance pays more than gaming, for example.
Right, because finance advertisers pay a premium.
Exactly. But if you are grinding out shorts, your RPM is only $0 and $3.07.
Yeah.
3 to 7 cents per 1,000 views. Why is the platform punishing short-form content that heavily?
Well, it's not actually a punishment. It's the underlying architecture of how ads are delivered. Think about a 10-minute video. You have a captive audience.
Right.
The creator can place a pre-roll ad, a mid-roll ad at, say, the 5-minute mark, and an end screen ad. That is highly valuable targeted inventory.
Yeah, I'm fully invested in that video, so I'll sit through the ad to see the rest of it.
Exactly. But with shorts, the algorithm doesn't serve an ad on your specific video. It serves ads between videos as the user scrolls rapidly through the feed.
Oh, right, because they're just swiping.
Exactly. So YouTube takes the ad revenue from that entire session, puts it into a giant pooled fund, and divides it up among the creators based on their share of total views. The actual mechanism of scrolling dilutes the value.
That makes total sense.
So the strategic takeaway from vidIQ is that you simply cannot look at shorts as a primary revenue engine. Shorts are an audience acquisition tool. You use the algorithm's reach to grab eyeballs, and then you funnel those viewers into your long-form content.
You hook them with the 60-second clip, but you actually pay your rent with the 12-minute deep dive.
Precisely.
But even then, relying purely on the whims of the YouTube ad algorithm seems incredibly precarious. I mean, a policy change or a demonetization flag, and your income literally goes to zero overnight.
Which is why almost no successful creator relies solely on ad revenue. You have to diversify. And that brings us to the GetResponse data on affiliate marketing.
The bridge between the attention economy and e-commerce.
Exactly. Instead of relying on YouTube's payout, you partner with brands directly. You place a unique referral link in your video description, and when your audience buys that product, you earn a percentage commission. No inventory, no shipping, just pure referral.
But let's look at the mechanics of those referrals, because there is a technical trap here that I think trips a lot of beginners up. Let's explain cookies.
Oh, the cookie duration, yes.
If I'm listening right now, and I click your affiliate link for, let's say, a microphone you're recommending, a tracking code cookie is instantly placed on my browser. Think of it like a digital fingerprint that the salesperson leaves on your wallet.
That's exactly how it works.
So if the cookie duration is set to 30 days, which is pretty standard, and I decide to buy that microphone on day 29, the merchant scans that fingerprint, recognizes you sent me, and pays you the commission.
Right.
But if I wait to buy until day 31, that fingerprint has completely vanished. You get absolutely nothing. And GetResponse warns that merchants are actively shortening these cookie durations to try and avoid paying out.
Yeah, some programs are down to 24 hours. It's a constant tug of war. And you also have to deal with high payout thresholds.
What does that mean in practice?
Well, you might earn $80 in commissions, but the merchant's contract states they don't issue a check until you hit $100, so they just hold your money.
Wow.
However, if you can navigate those hurdles, the GetResponse data shows the potential is massive. The average affiliate marketer is earning $8,038 a month.
Okay, I guarantee someone listening just rolled their eyes at that number.
I know.
Because $8,000 a month sounds exactly like the infomercial promise we were mocking earlier.
It does sound like that, but you really have to look at the timeline. That average includes experienced marketers. The data explicitly shows that affiliates who have been building their content libraries for over 3 years make 9 times more than beginners.
Ah, so it's a compounding effect.
Exactly. Yeah. One video with a good affiliate link might get 10 views a day for 5 years. When you have 500 videos doing that, the numbers stack up exponentially.
Okay, so let's synthesize what we've covered so far. E-commerce requires significant capital to test and secure supply chains. Content creation and affiliate marketing require you to survive a 12 to 24-month incubation period before the algorithm really rewards you.
Right.
If you are listening right now and you lack $8,000 of capital and you simply cannot afford to wait 2 years for your YouTube channel to pop, what is the alternative?
You pivot to the fastest, most direct route to cash flow. The skill economy.
Okay.
You bypass the inventory and the algorithms entirely, and you directly trade your existing expertise for income.
Freelancing. And this brings us to Elna Kane's 2026 guide, and specifically her origin story, because I think it perfectly captures the psychological toll of trying to enter this space.
It's a rough start for almost everyone.
Right. So Elna wanted to be a freelance writer. Naturally, she went to where she thought the work was, a content mill called iWriter. Yeah, these are those massive job boards where thousands of people bid on the exact same low-level gigs.
The quintessential gig economy race to the bottom.
Exactly. She lands a gig, she does all the research, writes the article, and gets paid $2.
Ouch.
$2. And she almost quit right there. She's raising twin toddlers, she's trying to manage a household, and she's staring at a screen realizing that competing on these platforms means her time is mathematically worthless. It's just a soul-crushing realization.
But the pivot she makes, if we connect this to the bigger picture, is what the listener really needs to pay attention to. Elna's success, which eventually became a full-time, highly lucrative career, happened the moment she stopped acting like an employee of a content mill and started acting like the CEO of a media business.
Right.
She completely abandoned the marketplaces.
How did she actually execute that, mechanically speaking?
By building her own infrastructure. She set up her own professional site. She used Trello to build a legitimate project management pipeline for her clients.
Just making it look professional.
Exactly. She learned Canva so she could offer custom graphics alongside her writing, instantly increasing her billable value. And most crucially, for the 2026 landscape, she integrated AI.
But not to write the articles, right? Because if you're just prompting an AI to write a blog post, you're back to offering a worthless commodity. Everyone can do that.
Precisely.
Hmm.
She used AI as a force multiplier for her research.
Hmm.
If she needed to interview a subject matter expert for an article, she used AI tools to instantly summarize 50 pages of dense industry reports so she could ask the expert highly targeted, intelligent questions.
Oh, that's smart.
She used it to outline structures, to find data points.
Mm.
She used technology to elevate the quality of her human insight. And then she pitched that premium service directly to high-paying clients on LinkedIn rather than waiting for scraps on a job board.
And it proves that your existing knowledge, your neural pathways, are an immediate digital asset if you package them correctly. And the Hostinger data really backs this up globally.
Yeah, the numbers are strong.
They report that U.S.-based freelancers are currently averaging over $99,000 a year. And if writing isn't your skill, there are other rapid start mechanisms. Hostinger highlights user testing gigs.
Those are great for quick cash.
Yeah. Companies are desperate to know why their websites are losing customers. They will literally pay you $3 to $30 per test simply to record your screen and speak your raw thoughts out loud while you try to navigate their checkout process.
Why is this button hiding here? Kind of thing.
Exactly. Or consider voiceover work. We have essentially democratized the recording studio. With a decent $150 microphone, you can audition from your bedroom closet. You can make $100 cutting a 30-second local radio spot, or negotiate up to $1,500 to narrate an indie audiobook.
Or online tutoring on platforms like Preply or Wizant, where specialized subject knowledge can command up to $38 an hour.
It's immediate cash flow. And here is the ultimate paradox of everything we've talked about today.
The wall.
The wall. Whether you successfully launch that dropshipping brand, or you actually hit your 1,000 YouTube subscribers, or you become a fully booked freelance writer, you are eventually going to hit a brick wall.
You hit the absolute limit of your own capacity.
The time wall. There are only 24 hours in a day. You can only edit so many shorts, or handle so many customer service emails for your store, or write so many articles before the quality drops and you just burn out.
Right.
So what does this all mean? If you want to move from being an operator to being a business owner, you have to scale the machine. You have to delegate.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The VA Masters 2026 Pricing and Service Guide. Because when people hit that time wall, the immediate assumption is always, well, I need to hire an employee.
Naturally.
But the economics of a local hire are staggering when you look at the total cost of ownership.
Let's run the math on that because people underestimate it.
Oh, completely. If you are a solo founder and you hire a local U.S.-based assistant, you are not just paying their hourly wage. You are paying payroll taxes, healthcare benefits, equipment costs, software licenses.
It adds up fast.
The VA Masters data calculates that a standard local hire actually costs a business between $65,000 and $75,000 a year to maintain. Most digital startups simply do not have that kind of margin.
So the alternative is outsourcing globally, and the VA Master's Guide focuses heavily on Filipino virtual assistants.
Right. If you go through a managed agency, you can hire a highly educated, full-time dedicated professional in the Philippines for anywhere between $6.50 and $25 an hour.
Wow.
If we take a standard rate of, say, $10 an hour for full-time work, your annual operational cost drops to roughly $20,800.
That is an 80% cost reduction, but I have to play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
A lot of founders resist outsourcing because they worry about cultural friction, language barriers, or just having to manage someone.
The data strongly suggests it does, provided you hire correctly. VA Masters notes that 28% of all their placements are for administrative and executive support. That's usually in that $6.50 to $10 an hour tier.
Okay.
These VAs are taking over inbox management, calendar scheduling, basic customer service. The internal metrics show that founders who offload these tasks reclaim 15 to 25 hours a week. And because the labor cost is so efficient, businesses are seeing a positive return on investment by week 2 of the hire.
Reclaiming 20 hours a week is life-changing for a founder. But what really caught my eye in this report is that the very definition of a virtual assistant is evolving. The fastest growing trend in their 2026 data isn't basic admin, it's the AI-augmented VA.
This is where the landscape is totally shifting.
Mhm.
An AI-augmented VA is someone who is deeply proficient in leveraging tools to multiply their output.
Right.
We are talking about assistants who use Canva AI to generate bulk social media graphics, who use ChatGPT to draft complex client responses, and most importantly, who understand workflow automations like Zapier.
Explain how a VA uses Zapier in practice, because I think that's a huge value add that people don't visualize.
Well, imagine you run that dropshipping store we talked about.
Hmm.
Instead of the VA manually copying customer email addresses from Shopify and pasting them into your GetResponse newsletter list, which is mind-numbing, the VA builds a Zapier automation.
Yeah. Okay.
The software instantly routes the data behind the scenes. The VA isn't doing data entry, they're designing the data flow. Because they use AI and automation, these specific VAs command a 15 to 25% higher hourly rate, but they deliver 2 to 3 times the output of a traditional assistant.
Because they aren't just assistants, they are system engineers.
Exactly.
The guide has this incredible case study about a guy named Ori, who is the CTO of a fintech company. Now, you would assume a chief technology officer is only hiring expensive local software developers.
Right.
Instead, Ori hired an administrative QA virtual assistant.
For quality assurance testing.
Exactly. This VA runs through the software, documents bugs, takes screenshots, and manages the entire research and development task board in an app called ClickUp. A virtual assistant completely streamlined the workflow of a high-tech engineering team. It just proves that this labor pool can handle highly technical, process-driven work.
Which naturally raises an important question.
Yeah.
If global talent is this efficient and cost-effective, why isn't every single digital entrepreneur doing this successfully? Why do so many outsourcing attempts fail?
Because cheap can be incredibly expensive if you do it wrong.
Exactly. VA Masters outlines a very specific operational methodology to avoid a disastrous hire. Rule number 1, never hire on price alone. You can easily find a freelancer on a random job board charging $3 an hour.
But you get what you pay for.
Right. The data shows those hires often require so much micromanagement or make so many costly errors with your customers that they effectively drain your time rather than saving it.
So what are the operational steps to actually do it right?
First, before you even interview someone, you must establish clear SOP, standard operating procedures.
Right.
You cannot hire a VA, hand them a login, and say, please organize my business.
Right. They can't read your mind.
Exactly. You have to document exactly how a task is done, step by step. Second, use custom skills tests during the interview phase. Do not just look at a resume. Give them a paid 1-hour test task that mimics the actual job.
See them in action.
Yes. And finally, over-communicate early. Daily sync meetings during week 1 are critical to establishing the rhythm and catching errors before they become habits.
Okay, let's bring this all back to you, the listener. We've covered a massive amount of ground today, but the through line is pretty clear. Whether you decide to deploy capital to build a dropshipping supply chain, or you decide to trade your time to build an audience on YouTube, or you package your existing knowledge into a freelance writing business, or you reclaim your sanity by hiring an AI-augmented systems architect, the 2026 digital economy is not a vending machine.
Definitely not.
It doesn't dispense free cash, but it does offer a highly structured mathematical path to building income, provided you are willing to actually do the logistical work.
It's all about respecting the mechanics of the ecosystem. And I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder as you look at your own goals.
Go for it.
We've seen today how AI allows a freelance writer to do days of research in seconds, and how automation allows a virtual assistant to triple their operational output for a fraction of local costs. As these tools continue to accelerate, we have to ask, in the digital economy of tomorrow, will the most valuable asset really be your startup capital or your content? Or will the ultimate competitive advantage simply be your ability to act as the architect, curating the exact right mix of global human talent and artificial intelligence to run the machine for you?
That really is the ultimate question for anyone building in this space. You have to decide if you want to be the operator pulling the levers or the architect designing the system. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. We've given you the blueprints, now it's up to you to build. We'll catch you on the next one.
Keep diving deep, everyone.